This is a $0 game and this is a $100 game, which is a huge sum of money to spend on a game. And I want to show you the difference between this $100 FPS and this $0 FPS, and also everything in between. And the reason I want to show you this is because the price of newer games has gotten so high that even having fun has become an expensive hobby. And I want to change your perspective by rating these games on 3 metrics: fun, price to quality, and optimization. And by the end of this video, you're gonna be surprised to know which game had the highest score. So let's start with the $0 game, the Finals. This game dropped on the gaming community with a big boom, and a lot of people were shocked by its price tag. And I couldn't believe it myself that the Finals is absolutely free. And I gave it a fun rating of 10 out of 10. Because they have come up with the greatest game mode I have played in a long while. The Cash Out Tournament. So what is the Cash Out Tournament, you ask? Let me explain it in the simplest way possible. So there are 3 people in a team and each tournament has 4 teams: blue, orange, pink and purple. And every single person has one objective: earn as much cash as you can before the match ends. Kinda sounds like real life. How do you earn this cash? Well, there are 2 boxes on the map, each containing $8,000, and you have to touch these boxes to unlock the money. But after it's unlocked, it doesn't go to your pocket. To make this money your own, you have to do one last thing: deposit the money in an ATM. And there are 2 of them on the map, so you can deposit on whichever one you like. After you've deposited, you'll see a small timer pop up above this ATM, and once this timer is full, the money is yours. Simple, right? Well, there's a catch. You see, the other teams are also hungry for this money and they can steal it anytime they want. So you and your team have to defend this ATM. Now you might be thinking, if both the teams keep stealing and the timer keeps resetting, the game will never end. And that's true. It would be pretty annoying and get boring quick. But this is exactly why I love this game. See, once the timer starts, it does not stop. The money will be deposited no matter what when the timer ends. The only thing that can change is which team the money goes to. So, if purple team's timer is about to finish in 10 seconds and you manage to complete a steal just when 1 or 2 seconds are left, that money is going into your pocket. And this game loop goes on for 3 more times in the match. And the top 2 teams with the highest amount of money win and move on to the next round. This Cash Out Tournament is so insanely fun, and it gets better if you play it with your friends. So it deserves a rating of 10 out of 10. Now, price to quality. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Because let me talk about the good first. The game is $0. You pay no money to experience such a well-made game. It is extremely polished and has loads of content. The devs like to call this game a hero builder, which is pretty accurate, I think. You have 3 classes: heavy, medium and light. They all have their different strengths. Heavy has a lot of health with defensive abilities and gadgets, but is very slow and deals less damage. Medium has average health and average damage weapons, but has really great movement and world manipulation gadgets. Light has the least amount of health, but has insane damage weapons and great movement speed and ADHD gadgets to support that speed. So, all of this mixed with the Cash Out Tournament and you will never get bored of this game. And just in case you do, they have the craziest cosmetics in this game that cater to every type of gamer. You're an eagle, a minimalist, and like weird shit or banana guns, they have everything. However, the reason I gave it a 7 is because of the servers. If you're in one of the major cities of the world, or mostly first world countries, you're going to have no problems. But if you're a bit further away, or in the farthest parts of third world countries, you're gonna have a lot of ping issues and lag spikes. And feel a bit janky because the game is mostly server sided so that it doesn't put a lot of stress on your gaming device. This is the only bad thing I have to say about this game. So I give it a 7 out of 10. And let's talk about the main stuff that people want to know. Optimization. I'll give it an 8 out of 10 because this game is smooth on most PCs. And if you're on console, you will have the time of your life. I think the problem comes on lower end PCs. Most of the time, you will have a stable and good FPS count, but one thing about this game is that every single building is breakable. So if a huge chunk starts to break, oh boy, you're fucked. Most of the destruction is done on the server side for optimization, but it still puts a little pressure on your PC. And that little pressure on lower end PCs would hit like a truck, but just for 2 or 3 seconds. So let's hope you're not in a fight during those few seconds. But the finals is peak, and you should give it a try. And talking about peak, let's talk about the Cultic. Oh boy, how I've fallen in love with this game. It's a boomer shooter with a gore and horror setting. So for those who don't know what a boomer shooter is, it's basically an FPS game with 90s style graphics. And don't worry, if you're not into the style, I have a few games coming up that you're gonna love. But coming back to this, I'm gonna ask you to keep an open mind about this, because I'm gonna give it a fun rating of 9 out of 10. Bro, I did not expect to like this game as much as I do. See, I was looking for a $10 game on Steam when I came across this and thought, why not try it? It's probably not my thing, but I'll have a game with an average or bad rating. But holy shit, it hit me like a truck. I didn't even record half my gameplay because I was having so much fun. The footage you're seeing are just the starting bits and the ending bits. So, it's a single player story game where you explore and fight through the ranks of these weird and twisted cult people with guns. There's a lot of gore and almost every object is interactable. I don't know if I can show this, but I can pick up their heads and eyes and throw it back at them. It doesn't do much, but it's funny, I guess. The world and art style is so fitting. Like, you would expect to see the things you see. This game had more to offer than I expected from it. However, when I think about price to quality, I'm gonna have to give it a 5 out of 10. I know that's a very bad rating, but the only bad thing being the playtime. It has a total playtime of around 5ish hours, which is not a lot. But it does make up with the insane visuals, variety of guns and enemies, great level designs and hidden areas. But only if it was a bit longer, I would have given it a higher score. But you know where it deserves a higher score? It's the optimization, which is a 9 out of 10. Now, I don't know if it's easier to polish a boomer shooter, but hey, I gotta give love where it is due. The game is very polished, which I was really surprised by. I was expecting it to be a bit janky, since some games lazy out in the name of boomer shooters. But my experience was pretty smooth, and the required specs for this game are so low, you can probably play this on the phone your grandma gave you on your 13th birthday. Like seriously, the minimum required GPU is an Nvidia GeForce 740. That's what the Egyptians used to design the pyramids. It's an actual boomer shooter. But if you don't like boomer shooters, you're gonna love this next game, because no boomer be playing this fast ADHD gory game. Of course, I am talking about Ultrakill. Now, if you don't already know about Ultrakill, shame on you. But if I don't tell you about Ultrakill, then shame on me. And if you try to skip this section, then shame on you twice. So listen carefully, because I am about to culture you. Fun 10 out of 10. Optimization 10 out of 10. Price to quality 7 out of 10.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Alright, chill out. Just listen, please. So let's start with the fun. It's a 10 out of 10. And before you question it, let me tell you what the game is. You're a machine and you've been sent to hell to destroy everything. The only way to heal is the blood of your enemies. The only way forward is through your enemies. So you pick up weapons along the way and annihilate everything you see. This is a fast-paced shooter that's not for the weak. You blast your enemies. You can punch their attacks back to them. You can punch your own attacks to make them go faster and go boom. Think of this game like 2016 Doom, but on crack, while snorting cocaine and sipping on demon blood. And if I tell you too much, it's gonna spoil your fun. So I'ma stop and talk about optimization, which is also a 10 out of 10. Remember the stuff I said for the Cultic? You can play that on a phone your grandma gave you on your 13th birthday? Well, if you piss on that phone and put it up your ass and then shit it out, you could still run Ultrakill on it. That's how optimized it is. The minimum required GPU is an Nvidia 560. Just saying that turned some of my hair white. So don't worry about how it runs. Talking about worrying, I'm worried you people will kill me if I don't tell you why I gave the price to quality a 7 out of 10. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of content, guns and secrets in this game, and some people have managed to play it over 1,000 hours. But the only reason I gave it less points is because the game is in early access and the main story is not yet finished, which I was really sad about when I played the game. This is the only reason I could find to take some points away from this game. Otherwise, it would have a perfect score. I know some people are not into the pixely aesthetic of these previous games and prefer normal or more realistic graphics. Well, if you're like that, you will love this next game. But if you liked the video until now, please hit that subscribe button. I am trying to reach 3,000 subs by the end of the year. Thank you. Grey Zone Warfare. Grey Zone Warfare is one of the most surreal games I've played in a while. The atmosphere, the world, and the game loop is so insane that I could barely believe this game is still in early access. And for that, I'll give it an 8 out of 10 for fun. So what is this game? It's a hyper-realistic tactical shooter where you join a private military company and complete missions in the dense jungles of Southeast Asia. If that doesn't sound interesting to you already, let me drop a bomb on you. This game has no loading screens and is a seamless extraction shooter, something Escape from Tarkov has been trying to become since its release. And you're probably thinking, how is that possible? How can an extraction shooter be seamless with no loading screens? Well, you spawn in this world and are given an option to join one of these 3 military companies. Each of them has different goals and have their base camp on different parts of the map. Once you choose which one to join, you will spawn in their base camp, and from here on out, you are in this world forever. Well, until you decide to close the game. In the base camp, you have access to your stash where all your loot is, some NPCs that give you tasks and sell you stuff, and once you're kitted up, ready to leave for a mission, all you need to do is open the map and select an LZ. So an LZ is where you will be dropped in the world by this heli. This heli is how you go in and out of the field to complete missions either with your friends or alone. Once you leave your base camp, anyone can kill you, be it NPCs, players from other factions, or even players from your own factions. But there are certain measures so that team killing gives insane bad karma, so it doesn't happen very often. When you're out in the world, every single decision you make will either lead you to your death or a successful extraction. But how do you extract? You just open up the map and click on your base camp. Doing this will call in a heli to your nearest LZ, and if you're not there in the given time, it's gonna leave without you, and you will have to wait until you can call in another one. And all of this while time is constantly moving, so it actually feels like real life, and I get so immersed that I lose complete track of time. All of this just in an early access game is insanely fun, but with the tag of early access, there are some problems that do come to light, and so I gave this game a price to quality of 6 out of 10. See, $40 is almost AAA pricing, and it's a big commitment for a lot of people. So I'm gonna be honest, the quality of the game is insane, the world, the weapons, everything just really good. However, it's not a finished game. In fact, it has just started to grow. The recent update was as big as the release of the game, which is pretty good. The devs tend to listen to community feedback and are working to make this game bigger every day. But right now, I don't think I can justify the $40 price tag, but it has very huge potential. You can still enjoy the game as it has loads of content, but I get really turned off when there's no end game or the game isn't fully finished, and that's why I gave it a 6 out of 10. But this is not the major problem with the game. It's the optimization, which I'm going to have to give 5 out of 10. That is the lowest score by far. And I think it's justified, because if you don't have a near high-end PC, you're just not gonna enjoy the game. Like, I'm talking 4070 and above to play with good graphics and 60 FPS. I hope they can optimize this game well, because without it, I think it might suffer and see price increases. Let's hope that doesn't happen. This is the only game I struggled with last year. It runs smooth now, but I have a pretty overkill PC. And because I have an overkill PC, I spent almost all my money on it. And I couldn't buy this next game. Well, I couldn't buy the highest variant, Battlefield 6. Yes, I know it's technically not $100, but it's $60, which is a lot of money for everyone in the world. But just because this is the most promising Battlefield I have played in so long, I had to buy it. I fell in love during the beta. So, fun? It's a 10 out of 10. And I know no one's gonna disagree with me here. And just in case you don't know what Battlefield is, you're a soldier in a war with 63 other people present. You have access to guns, tanks, helicopters, planes, and ground attack vehicles in a world with destruction and chaos. And your job is to win no matter how. It is all out warfare. And if you don't find that fun, what the fuck is wrong with you? How can you play FPS games and not find this fun? That's it. That's my argument. Moving on, price to quality, I'ma give it a 7 out of 10. Okay, hear me out. You might be mad, but listen. I'm comparing it to previous Battlefield games. They are charging us more for half the content that we got in previous games. And I'm not just talking about the maps. I'm talking about weapons. There used to be so many weapons in Battlefield 4, Hardline, and Battlefield 1. And there were these special missions in Hardline which we had to complete to unlock a certain overpowered weapon. A lot of people hated that, but I loved it. It gave me something to grind for, except for just skins and cosmetics. Like, I don't give a shit about battle passes, and honestly hate the normalization of them. And I know I sound like a boomer, but giving us mini objectives like this would have been so much fun. But I know there are too many snowflakes that would start crying. This, and it's just a lot of money, because we do know EA will ruin it after a year with heavy monetizations following its sale to the Saudis. And optimization, I'ma give it an 8 out of 10. I'm gonna give it to DICE. I genuinely did not expect this game to run so well on mid-tier PCs, especially after the 2042 blunder. And I feel like all games are optimized for consoles already, so there's no point in talking about them. They're living good. It's not the best, but it's 1,000 times better than their previous try. So props to DICE for a rare win. And on the point of win, which game did you think got the highest score? All the scores I gave were entirely my personal opinion, so try not to go bonkers in the comments, guys. But these are the final scores. Okay, wow. I knew Ultrakill would win, but damn, the Finals and Battlefield 6 both in second place. You know what? I'm gonna let you decide which one is better, because keep in mind, one of these games is free. And yeah, that's all the FPS games from $0 to $100. Let me know which one was your favorite, apart from me. I hope you enjoyed. See ya!